My name is Kyle B. Thompson. I am the programming director for the Fort Myers Beach International Film Festival. The past couple weeks, we've been doing some fantastic interviews with some really rad filmmakers. And I have one today who I'm really excited to talk with, Brendon Hubbard. See, I know I'm going to mess that up. We talked about it a minute ago, and I'm going to mess up that last name. He has a fantastic film called The Helping Hand, which streams the 25th at 7 p.m. But more importantly, he is a wealth of knowledge. He's a producer of the Academy Award-winning short film Curfew, which is fanboying is one of my favorite short films of all times. So I'm super excited to chat with him today. Let's bring him on, Brenden. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Dude, I knew I was going to mess up that last name. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
The nerve thing, we talked about it, and then I'm like, oh.
Old Mother Hubbard is what I usually tell people.
Old Mother, okay. So I apologize, but dude, welcome, man. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So you obviously have a pretty large resume, and you have a ton of credits under your belt, including an Academy Award. So I'm curious, like, how did you get into this, the side of it? Like, what got you to producing and filmmaking?
Yeah, so I guess 11 years ago, I was coming out of college, and the guy I was interning with, who is actually our composer now, Darren Morsey, just out of the blue was like, do you want to be a guitar tech with this band I'm working for? I was like, sure. So I went on tour, spent like 6 weeks on the road with this band Stellastarr. The lead singer ended up being Sean Christensen, who wrote and directed Curfew. And he just kind of asked me on a whim to come help out, and then just slowly started learning the ropes. And, you know, at this point, after 10 years, I'm pretty seasoned. I have like 60 credits under my belt. Dude, one at Sundance. We've had films with A24, IFC, obviously the Academy Award. So,
dude, man, what an incredible resume, man. That's you must be extremely proud of that, dude. And seriously, it's I mentioned to you before this call is I've seen a lot of the Fuzzy Logic films, and they're all fantastic, including The Helping Hands, which thank you so much for submitting, because our entire judging team absolutely loved it.
Awesome.
So tell us a little about that, man. Like, I'm really curious about the story, because it's such a unique story. Where did the story come from? What inspired that?
So actually, with our last short film, Cul-De-Sac, we were a part of the NBC Short Film Festival.
Oh, wow.
So me and the director, Damon Russell, were out in LA at the time. He just had a newborn, and he was staying at an Airbnb. We're drinking wine, and they had their little baby monitor. And I just was kind of like, how do you know the guy that owns this place isn't like watching your kid and talking to him right now? And it freaked his wife out. And then I was like, well, that's it. That's going to be my first film.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. This is your first film that you directed.
Yeah, first film I wrote and directed.
Wow. Yeah, that would freak me out. I have a newborn as well. Well, 1-year-old now, but now that you said that, I'm going to go ahead and take all that in her nursery. So, right. So, what was the production like? Where'd you guys film it, by the way? I don't think I know that.
We filmed this one in Atlanta, Georgia. We actually filmed the other short you guys are showing, Birthday Cake for Dinner. We did that one on Friday, Saturday, and I shot mine on Sunday. So
what?
1 day shoot for mine, 2 day for Damon, and yeah.
So you guys shot one. I think actually, I think I read this somewhere. You guys had it. So you shot that whole film in 1 day?
Yeah, my film was 1 day. Damon's was 2.
Wow, dude, that's incredible. It looks like, I mean, the production value looks like it's like 3 or 4 days, dude.
I wish.
That's mind blowing. Like, oh man.
It was pretty wild because obviously shooting with a kid, my first time directing. Luckily, she was a saint. Like, she showed up on set and just immediately jumped into it, got everything we needed out of her. And then Ryan, the father in the movie, flew down from New York the same day and just basically was up for 24 hours between the flight and us wrapping at like 3 a.m.
Dude, that's crazy. Because I was going to ask that, like, was the cast like ahead of time? Like, were they local? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, so Ryan Willard, who played the dad, he's New York City. He's been in Cul-De-Sac. He's been in a bunch of films we've done. I've loved the dude forever, so I immediately was like, Ryan, I need you to be in this film. I'll fly you to Georgia. You got to waive your SAG fee because I don't have any money.
Yeah.
And then I found Jennifer Finley off just a little casting post I did. Okay. She was great. She was Georgia local. And then Sadie, who's the star of the movie, she was the last person that I looked at through this casting agency called Kiddin' Around.
Oh,
So
wow.
like she had missed the casting call. Everyone at the casting call was kind of terrified of me because I have a big beard. So it's like, well, how are we going to shoot in one day if these kids are like scared of me? And then her mom got a hold of me and was like, "Hey, sorry we missed it. Do you want to meet up and just, see if she's the vibe?" So we met at like a Barnes and Noble's library. I immediately was like, well, let's go into like a book aisle and let's just act out a scene. I was like, "Hey, can you just sit on the floor, like pretend it's a bed?" And she's like, "No, it's filthy. I'm not sitting on this floor." I was like, "You're perfect." So yeah.
Oh, wow, that's incredible. That is funny. The beard thing. Oh man. So for those who haven't seen The Helping Hand, I would love to show everybody a quick preview of this. It's an absolute fantastic film. Let's take a look. Dude, that's so creepy. Like now, like you mentioned, Damien's kid. I'm like, I need to start looking at those things differently because it's pretty creepy, man. So did you guys have the same, like, did you guys like just borrow the same crew? Like you get that one film and then this like same DP, or was it a different crew change out? What was that like?
Yeah, we used we had to use the same crew. It just would have been too hard to like kind of bring in a new people and kind of tell them what we're doing. So originally we wanted to shoot with a couple days in between, and I was gonna have 2 days of shooting, but because it's indie filmmaking, no budget, we ended up just being like, well, let's do this in 3 days. Same crew, same DP. Daniel Freeberg shot both films. He's a great DP.
Yeah.
And yeah, I flew down, production manager, producer friend of mine, Darcy Trunzo, and I was like, I can't produce and direct at the same time, knowing that we were going to do the flip. So she came in and like just crushed the whole crew, and it was a magical 3 days.
That's awesome, man. So why Atlanta?
Damon was living there at the time, and
okay.
We had just back at the NBC Short Film Festival, we won a grant for some free Panavision gear as well as some like G&E gear from NBC. So there was a NBC spot in Atlanta that we were able to get some free gear, and that kind of helped our budget.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That's absolutely incredible. So it's gotten to a couple festivals already. Like
70, yeah.
So, yeah, just a few. So like, what's the hope for it? I guess long term. Like, are you guys at your festival end? Do you want to is it just continue the festival circuit? Like, what's the hope for it?
Actually, I just secured distribution about 2 weeks ago.
Dude, oh my god! Congratulations, that's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. It's this company called Gunpowder Sky that owns a channel called Dust.
Okay,
it's like a sci-fi horror sort of channel on YouTube. But they have 2 million subscribers. It seems like they're really into like developing young filmmakers. So it seemed like a good fit. So hopefully in October, I think we're going to release around Halloween.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Oh, man. Yeah. Congratulations. That's really cool.
Yeah.
This is your first film, which is like directing that is like mind-boggling to me right now. That's absolutely incredible. 70 festivals have already accomplished so much, man. That's unreal. So, right. Another question is, what are you most proud about for The Helping Hand?
Ooh. I guess I'm proud that I took the next step from producing to directing and writing, because that was something I felt was holding me back a bit, because I've been producer on so many projects, yet here I am like struggling to find the next project. So like writing, directing kind of opened it up so that I feel a little more free, and I can, kind of show my darker side as opposed to like, helping a director do what they want.
Yeah. No, I mean, dude, that's awesome. I mean, I think that's right. I think another filmmaker I was just talking to is like, in order to learn something, you have to just do it. And which is awesome. I think is people who wait around for that something to show up doesn't really work out. So that's awesome that you've just sort of just jumped into that. And I mean, 70 film festivals is incredible. So there's a lot of films. We have 130 films playing at this festival this year out of 1,000 submissions. So there's a lot of people who I think who admire to want to be into 70 film festivals. If you had any advice for them, what would that be? Like, what did that process look like for you in terms of the festival? And also you did the festival run for Curfew. So I'm just curious of what your advice would be on that.
I think kind of get an outsider's perspective. Like, everyone I talk to, because I get brought onto a lot of films to handle festival runs for people. And like the number one thing is everyone thinks they have their Sundance film or their Cannes film. And it's like, you have to be realistic about what you have. Like if you have a 30-minute film, then you're probably going to be targeting kind of mid-tier and some smaller festivals that actually have the room in their program. Whereas like a Sundance, like for 30 minutes, they can program 3 10-minute films that probably have, stars in them or have, alumni status in that place. So just understand what your limitations are and like where you can actually take it. And like, yes, of course, I encourage you to take your big shot, like go for Sundance, go for South by, go for Tribeca, but also like don't get super hung up on rejections, because if you get into 1 out of every 10 submission, like you're doing really well in the festival world.
Yeah, and you've been in some top tier ones. I mean, obviously Academy Award, but you guys were, I believe, in Tribeca, and you did mention Sundance film in there. So like you have that experience, which is incredible. So you've been around. I mean, how long have you been producing for? You said 10 years.
It's been 10 years.
Okay, so first time directing, which is awesome. So if you could give yourself, your younger producer self, one piece of advice, what would it be? Now that you have all these like major top tier festivals and Academy Award under your belt, what's that one piece of advice?
I guess when I was younger, I was a little more hesitant and like willing to believe people who I thought were, past me in my career. So I guess my advice would be just be more confident and just go for it more, as opposed to like thinking these people are like more superior in that situation where, a lot of times like I probably was right in what I was thinking. It's just that because they had made 10 films and secured a budget, like I felt a little insecure that I wasn't quite there. So,
yeah, keep your eyes on your own paper is what I say a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of stuff, typically filmmakers, they'll compare themselves to the success of others, and that's hard on the human. And it's hard on the ego, and it's hard on like just that self-esteem, and I think it ultimately could prevent people from doing something they really are meant to do long term. So that's awesome, man. So you have another film, Birthday Cake, which I believe you produced.
Yeah, I produced that one.
That's also playing. I don't have a clip for it, unfortunately, but I mean, do you want to tell us a little bit about what that film's about? Because it's also fantastic. I think Damien directed that one.
Yeah, Damon Russell, who produced mine, we kind of flip-flopped that weekend. It's a very personal film for him. He wanted to try something different from the thriller that we did in Cul-De-Sac or his first feature, Snow in the Bluff. So this was kind of a story about the first time he went to like visit his father when he was younger, and kind of just felt like he was like an alien in this guy's house. So it's just like a nice little like just family perspective of just a young kid. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. So what was I about to ask you? I totally forgot I was about to ask you. It's a good question too. Ooh. So what's next for you, man? You already have all this like crazy experience. Like, are you working on your short films? Are you still producing? Do you have feature stuff coming up? Anything you can talk about here?
I have 2 short films I'm getting ready to direct. One is kind of in similar vein to Helping Hand. It's just like a child kind of gets lost in advertisements and gets sucked into the cloud. And the other one's like a moving truck, like box truck haunting movie, because we're trying to figure out how to do things during COVID. Like, well, if we have one actress in a truck, it should be pretty safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm working on a narrative podcast, kind of like basically a TV miniseries, but in the form of a podcast that I'm producing.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That's really incredible. So, Laurie, what are you like? What's your hope for the 2 short films that you have coming out and The Helping Hand? Like, they're such a unique story, right? I think from what you told us now, and The Helping Hand, also like Cul-De-Sac was another one. Like, where do you find your inspiration? Do you have other filmmakers you look up to, like actual films? Like, where do you come up with this stuff? It's all this is such unique stories that I've never seen before ever. So that's why I guess I'm asking.
I think it's like for us at Fuzzy Logic, like we're not necessarily trying to be tied down to like we have to build this script out and build this idea out. Like for Cul-De-Sac, Sean, the writer, just kind of had this idea, like he just moved into this house and he would just like look out the door and be like, I wonder if like my neighbor's a Russian spy. And then we got together one weekend, walked around his property and like came up with the idea of Cul-De-Sac and just kind of shot that in 4 days.
Oh, wow.
Kind of like without a script, like we had a couple little scenes written out. And then same with The Helping Hand, like I just kind of awkwardly put this idea out there. And then it was like, yeah, let me see if I can write out 10 pages. And my writing partner, Brian Barnes, I was out in LA visiting. We just got together and like banged out this idea. So it's kind of, it's hard to say. It's kind of spur of the moment. Like anything is inspirational. So,
dude, that's awesome, man. I don't think I knew that any of those stories. So I guess like, you know, the other thing I would ask is like, all right, all of these stuff that you do as a producer, like, is it always Fuzzy Logic, or do other people come to you? And if so, what do you look for before you jump onto a project as a producer?
Yeah, I work with lots of people. Like with Fuzzy Logic, like it's kind of when things come up and when things seem right, we do it. But I work with a lot of people. If it's something like where I'm coming on towards post to kind of help with film festival routing and like what the strategy is and how to go somewhere. You know, length of film is obviously something that is going to deter me away from a project. If it's short concept, basically. So like if you want to do an Academy push and your film's 40 minutes, like you're kind of in that weird area and you're going to get stuck. It's like you can't really go for distribution like a feature, and you can't really rack up the laurels at the Academy level for the short film. But then obviously content, like it has to be something that I feel confident in. Like if it's some slapstick horror or slapstick comedy, like I might shy away. But if it's like a dark comedy and it really like appeals to my obviously dark side, then you know I'll jump on the phone with people. Yeah, I mean it's just if the script's good or the content's good, like I'm happy to talk to them and see if they have realistic goals, basically.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So I have one more question for you, man. So where can we learn more about you? Are you on social media? For those who are watching, can we find you on a website, or how can we keep up with all your work, man? Because I think ultimately, especially in a time like this, it's most important to stay connected. So where can we find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Barely There Media. That's BEAR, like the bear. That's probably the most active account. I mean, I'm sure you can stalk me on the internet and find my name, but yeah.
Awesome, man. Cool. Well, Brenden, listen, thank you so much for your time, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no, dude, it's great. It's for me also as a learning opportunity. So this is fantastic. And dude, yeah, I'm super excited to play your film, man. So now that I know you're Philly based, we'll have to connect sometime. I'm so sorry this didn't work out in Florida, but let's hope for 2021, man. Well,
awesome.
Thank you so much, Brenden. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Cheers.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Please check out that film, The Helping Hands, 25th, 7 p.m. It's absolutely fantastic. Again, guys, my name is Kyle B. Thompson. I mentioned this on many calls. Please feel free to follow me on Instagram. Stay connected. I think more than anything right now during these times, we need to stay connected. I always said creativity always finds a way. But until then, the festival starts on Tuesday. The nominations are in. I haven't seen them yet, but I heard they're in, so I'm excited to share them live on September 22nd. But until then, see you guys.